Why is that on? There we go. Okay. So the only difference between these two is because of this f that is telling you it is a function, which means what? What is the definition of a function? It's not a relation. Crosses the graph once, a vertical line. What was the very first definition I gave you? That's the vertical line test. But what was the definition of a function? It is something about x's and y's. There's only one y for every x. Okay? That's what that means, right? You can only put that f there if it is a function. If it's not a function, you can't write it. Okay? But we only deal with functions in this class, right? So this little notation here reads f of x. That's what it means. F of x. So that's the general form. Now, if I write f of 5, whatever's in the brackets there goes in for your x values. Gets substituted in for the x, okay? And then you can evaluate it. So I'd go 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 gives me 13. So whatever's in the brackets substitutes in for your x value, and then you can evaluate the function. All right, we're going to do this on the back. Is everybody okay? We're just starting. It's going to be okay. So let's flip to 310, please. All right, we have two functions here, f of x, and sometimes when there's multiple functions, they won't write f of x, they'll write g of x. But when it's in this notation, it still means it's a function. We just put g of x because we don't want to put another f of x. It'll get confusing, okay? But it still means this is a function. We're just calling it function g. Okay. I want to evaluate f of 3. So it's function f, this one right here. Whatever's in the brackets goes where? Where does it get substituted in? Into the x. All right, that is your x value. So I put it in for my x value. When you substitute in, what should you always do? Put it in brackets. So we go 3 bracket squared plus 5. And we evaluate it. BEDMAS would say to do what first? Brackets, then exponents. What's 3 squared? Oops. So f of 3 is equal to 14. What that means is when x equals 3, y equals 14. Whoops. That's what that means. F of 3 equals 14 means when x is 3, y is equal to 14. Yeah. All right. B. G of 1. Which function are we dealing with here? F or G? G. That's why they say G. Where does the 1 go? In for the x. So it goes right there. So G of 1 means 4 minus 1. What's 4 minus 1? 3. So what does that mean in words? What does G of 1 equals 3 mean in words? When whoever said that. When x is 1, y is 3. F of negative 2. Where does negative 2 go? For what function? The f function. So we go bracket everything that you sub in. We're squaring it, and then we're adding 5. What do I do first? So negative 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 5 is? All right, D. G of negative 2. 4 minus, bracket what you sub in. What does that become? 6, because a negative and a negative make it positive. 6. And the final one, f of 0 minus g of 0. So do each one individually. So do f of 0 over here. Where does the 0 go? So I get 0 squared plus 5, which is 5. G of 0, 4 minus 0, which is 4. Then what do? You just subtract those answers, because f of 0 was 5. G of 0 was 4. 5 minus 4 is? This is a good test question, people. i.e., I will ask you a question like that on your test. I'll give you 2 functions, and I'll say evaluate them and then subtract them. Okay? Any questions about that? Whatever's in the brackets, whatever's in those that little bracket there gets substituted in for x. We're good? 1 to 3, please. Okay. So now we're going to get slightly more complex here. Our function is 5x cubed minus 2x. This just means, that's XER. What does that mean? Close. That's when you're talking about domain. It's negative infinity to positive infinity. It's saying x can be any number, any real number. You don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to test you on that in terms of why it's there. It's just saying you can put any number x you want in there. No domain restriction. Okay? All right. F of negative 3. Where does the negative 3 go? In for x. It goes in for all x's. There's multiple x's in the function. It goes into every single one, bracket it in every x that you put it into. So we get 5 negative 3 cubed minus 2 times negative 3. Always, always, always bracket. Okay, so what do we do first? Brackets and exponents, right? It is, but it's going to change in a sec here. Negative 3 to the power of 3. Anybody know what that is? Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9 times negative 3 is negative 27, right? Negative 2 times negative 3 is? Positive 6. 5 times negative 27. Negative 135 plus 6 is? Or negative 129. All right, so it's the same idea, except you put it in for every x. Now, they can change up the wording on you. Value of f when x equals 2. What does that mean? You put a 2 in for every x. It means this, f of 2, right? That's all it means. So you do the exact same thing. 5, 2 cubed minus 2 times 2. Can you tell me that answer, peoples? Please. Is that your guess? What's 2 cubed? 8 times 5 minus 4. We're not doing C because I'm never going to ask you a question that says the image of 7 under F. It means F of 7. But who speaks like that? We're not doing that. So if you see a question that says the image of 7 under F in the questions I assign, just go. All right. An expression. Okay, now we're going to start to change it. So an expression for F of A. Where does the A go? In for the X. It's the exact same thing. So we get 5 A bracket cubed minus 2 times A. What's A cubed? A cubed. A to the power of 3. And then 2 times A is 2 times A. So it just becomes that. That wasn't exciting. But X1 changes a bit. All right. An expression for F of 2X. So, hang on. Whatever's in the brackets goes where? In for the X's. Substitute. Even if it's the same variable, put brackets around what you put in. So we go F of 2X is equal to 5. Now, instead of writing X, this X, I put, what do I put? 2X. And it's all cubed. Minus 2 times what? 2X. Then we do the cubing, right? Because brackets exponents. This 3 goes to what in here? Goes to both, right? So what is 2 cubed? 8. So I'm going to get 5 times 8x cubed minus 2 times 2 is minus 4x. Then what do? 5 times 8, which is 40. So I just get 40 x cubed minus 4x. It is polynomials, exactly. Everybody's favorite. Perfect. Well, we don't do any factoring in this unit, so. Although grade 11's all factor. Okay. Last one. Well, last one for now. All right, here we go. Here's our function. We're calling it P of X now. 4x squared minus 6x plus 1. This will be a test question. Okay? And it's basically just polynomial expansion is what we're going to do right now. We want a simplified expression for P of X minus 3. Whatever's in the brackets goes where? In for the X. So everywhere there's an X, I put X minus 3. And you must bracket everything. So 4 bracket X minus 3 all squared minus 6 bracket X minus 3 plus 1. Now, what do we do? So what does this mean? Yes. So it's not x squared minus 9 or x squared plus 9. It's 4 times x minus 3, x minus 3, right? What do I do with the 6? You distribute it, whoever said that. Nice. Math language and everything. -6 gets dumped in, so I get -6x. -6 times -3 is +18, and there's a +1 on the end. All right. Now I have to expand the x minus 3's. So we have to FOIL it, right? Just like polynomials. So boom, 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 boom. So I get 4 bracket. X times x is x squared. X times -3 is -3x. 3x plus 9. What's 18 and 1? 19. So we can combine those. What do I do now? Can't simplify yet. There's one more thing. The 4's got to get dumped into the brackets, right? Or did you mean simplify the inside of the brackets? Whoever said that? You're just saying simplify? Okay. You're just one step ahead. So I get 4x squared minus 12x minus 12x plus, oh my gosh, 36. 9 times 4 is 36, right? Now what do I do, Kyle? There you go. So 4x squared, -12x and -12x, -24x, minus 6x. 36 plus 19, 55. Test question. Guaranteed every polynomial, or sorry, functions test will have a question like that on it. Absolutely guaranteed. But it's the same stuff. Whatever's in the brackets gets substituted in. Let's do 4, 5, 6, and 7. 4 to 7. That'll bring us breaks in 10 minutes. I will not speak again until 10:25. Okay, bottom of page 310. So we have our function f of x is equal to 10x minus 3. They're asking us to figure out what x is if f of x equals 47. So now they're not telling us what x is. We have to figure it out, but they're telling us what the y value is. This is essentially the y value. So they're saying you put some value into this function and it equals 47. So we simply go 47 equals the whole function, 10x minus 3. Because we're trying to figure out what x is. Now you solve for x. So how do I solve for x here? So you're going to add 3 to each side. I'm going to get 50 is equal to 10x. Then what? So x is equal to 5. All right. Does that make sense? We're doing the reverse essentially now. What about if they say solve f of x is equal to -23? It's the same question. They're just saying dropping the determine the x. So if this is f of x, we just go, okay, -23 is equal to 10x minus 3. And this is where the algebra comes in. What do I do? Add 3 to each side. What's -23 plus 3? -20. Divide off the 10. x equals -2. How could you check your answer? Yeah, so if you wanted to check your answer, you would just put x is equal to -2 into there. So you'd go f of -2, sub it in, which is -20 minus 3, which is -23. So if you ever want to check your answer, just take what you got, plug it back into the original, and see if it spits out what it's supposed to. All right, is that okay? Okay, flip the page, please, to 311. Just a couple more, and then this lesson's done. Okay. So we're going to do A and B here. Evaluate f of 4. Where does the 4 go? In for x's. So 4 squared minus 5. It's 4 squared. Minus 5 is 11. There you go. Okay. Now, second part says solve f of x is equal to -4. So what do? We just did this. Or 4, sorry, just positive 4. You don't put it in for the x's. You only put it in for the x's when it's in the brackets, right? If it says f of x equals 4, well, this is f of x, so just make it equal to that. 4 equals x squared minus 5. If there's nothing in the brackets except the x, it's saying solve for x. Okay. So what do I do here? Add 5. So I get 9 is equal to x squared. You're all experts at this type of equation, except most of you did not do it on the quiz. You square root both sides, and when you square root something, you always get negative and a positive, which most people forgot to do on the test. Sorry? Why do you get a negative and a positive? Is that what you said? Because -3 times -3 is +9. And 3 times 3 is +9. So there's two possible answers. All right. Okay, so this type of question where you have to solve for x will be a test question as well. I'm going to ask you that. This test is already what? 8, 9, and 11, please.